Hi fellas. So it's been different, not having to make a video every day for my magic sorting thing. It was nice to take like a week off from stuff, from playing around with magic cards during the middle of the week and such. As you can see, I cleaned all the pretty much cleaned all the card boxes off of this table and got my printer and laptop set up on it right now because I needed to print something off, and I don't set the printer up very often, blah 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 blah, but you don't really care about that. So this past Friday I did some drafting. We ended up drafting a Scars block. Had some interesting stuff running around here. Went primarily with a red-blue build during the first draft. Had some interesting funk going on. Let me see what I have here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I want to say there was another rare in here, but I can't think of what it was. And it's funny too, because I figured it would be something I'd remember too. But anyway, this was it's one card shy, but this is pretty much the deck I was running. It's a blue-red build. I got a couple of Numbing Dose, Bonza Quicksilver, Dissipate, a Steel Sabotage, Volition Rings, always a nice card. Viral Drake is what I grabbed in my first pack and tried to go from there. Blighted Agent. Had 2 Turn to Slags, a Gut Shot, a Goblin Gavalier, Into the Core, 1 Razor Swine, a Fallen Ferromancer, Galvanic Blast, a Perilous Mirror, an Iron Mirror, Phyrexian Juggernaut, a Flare Husk, a Grafted Exoskeleton, and this lovely little thing called the Sword of Feast and Famine. I don't know if you've heard of it or not. It's kind of an interesting card. I think a lot of people have been underestimating it and blah 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 blah. Yeah, right. I can't say that with a straight face either. But it was interesting. It was a very removal-heavy deck overall. It performed ho-hum. I think the biggest problem it had was that it just didn't have enough creatures. It just didn't have enough creatures, But I'm drawing a blank as to what the other rare in this deck was. I really am. Sideboard, I had a Sphere of the Suns, Gremlin Mine, Ichor Wellspring, Galvanizer, Byron, Duelist, Pair Crush, Rusted Relic, Frantic Salvage, Inquisitor Exarch, Forced Worship, Grasp of Darkness, Caress of Phyrexia, Fuel for the Cause, Twisted Image, Wing Splicer, Darksteel Mirror, and hey, look, I've got 2 Mental Missteps now. Yeah, you probably couldn't see all those very well as I was flashing by, but they're all cards that you're probably all familiar with. I am seriously drawing a blank as to what the other rare I had here was. Out of the prize pool, I picked up a foil Blight Mamba, Whoop-de-dee, an S-Champion, and Malira Silvok Outcast. I kicked Malira into the prize pool because I picked her up at one point as she was going around, because I figured, if I end up going Infect, I don't want other people to have her. If I don't go Infect, I can sideboard her if I end up going green, blah blah. But yeah, she ended up not being useful. And like I said, the deck did okay. I mean, not exemplary by any stretch of the imagination, but it did okay. Crap, just dropped a bunch of stuff. Oh, jeez. Hate it when I do that. So put these aside. The second draft, I had some interesting fun going on in the second draft. The Blind Zealot, Spread the Sickness, the Plague Stinger, Ichor Wellspring, Silvok Lifestaff, Trigon of Rage, Phyrexian Juggernaut. That's like 2 drafts in a row I got a Phyrexian Juggernaut. It's a fun card. Vector Asp, Viridian Betrayers, they're alright. Deathhead Cobra, Viridian Emissary, Mirrored Metal, Leeching Bite, Unnatural Predation, excuse me, a Telgelad Defiance, a Gliss's Scorn, a Mirrored Metal, an Apostle's Blessing. That came in handy a couple of times. What you're not seeing here is a couple other cards that I had in the deck. I kicked into the prize pool and ended up not getting them back. There was a foil Blind Zealot, so I had 2 Blind Zealots in there. Dark Steel Plate, Nim Death Mantle, and a Carnifex Demon. I took a picture of it. It's on my phone. Yay! Oh, yeah, then it disappears. But whatever. I took a picture of it because I knew I wasn't going to be able to remember those. I was expecting to be able to remember what the other rare was from the other deck, but obviously I didn't. Yeah. Watch me think of it like 5 minutes after I finished the video, right? This did ho-hum at best. It really didn't turn out to be a terribly viable build. And hey, you know what? I drafted it. I played it. All my fault, right? What do I got here? Some lands. Sideboard. Pistis Strike. Black Coven Vampires and a Relic Putrescence, Vedalken Infuser, Phyrexi's Core, Origin Spellbomb, a Glinthawk Idol, Darksteel Relic I picked up just because. Time Strike, Banishing Decree, and Ardent Recruit, and I actually had some decent playable red in the sideboard. Maybe I should have used it in retrospect, but you know, I didn't. I had Razor Swine, Ogre Menial, which I'm not terrifyingly fond of, but hey, what the hell. Volshock Refugees, interesting. Geosurge, Blade Tribe Berserkers, Cavalier, 2 Ogre Resistors. I mean, it's playable. It's not great by any stretch of the imagination. It's playable, though. Put this down for a second. Picked up a few cards in trade this past Friday night as well. You know, I picked up a Mere Propagator and Azuri and the Black-Green Glissa and Aegis Angel. But let's see what I can do here. but get some stuff separated here for you. This is my stuff from the pre-release of Innistrad. Here we go. Alrighty. Well, first off, everyone got a foil Mayor of Avabrook. He's a 1/1 for a colorless and a green. Other human creatures you control get +1/+1. At the beginning of your upkeep, if no spells were cast this last turn, transform him. Transformed. Ooh. He's Halpak Alpha. He's a 3/3 that gives other werewolves you control +1/+1. At the beginning of your end step, put a 2/2 green wolf token onto the battlefield. And at the beginning of each upkeep, if a player casts 2 or more spells on the last turn, transform him. So he's kind of funky. He's kind of funky. Everyone got 6 booster packs from which to make a deck. I got a Kessig Wolf Run, which isn't a bad card. I also got a Woodland Cemetery and a Hinterland Harbor. We've got the black-green and green-blue enemy color version of the M-Series quasi-dual lands. What we're looking at here is my my sideboard cards. Cards I didn't use. A pair of one-eyed scarecrows. It's a 2/3 defender for 3. Creatures with flying your opponent's control get -1, -0. A wooden stake, which gives equipped creature +1/+0, and whenever that creature blocks or becomes blocked by a vampire, destroy that creature. It can't be regenerated. 2 to play, 1 to equip. Looks like I hear some excess white. Silver Chase Box. It's a white bear, 2/2 for a colorless and a white. You can pay a colorless and a white and sacrifice him to nuke an enchantment. Feeling of Dread. It's a colorless and a white instant. Tap up to 2 target creatures with a flashback of a colorless and a blue. For those that don't know, flashback's a really old mechanic. It goes back to Odyssey Block, I believe it was. Basically, carved with flashback, when it's in your graveyard, you may pay the flashback cost and play it from your graveyard. If you do, exile it when it resolves. Kid Science 1 stuff. Feelings of Dread is actually not a bad card, really, especially seeing how you can flash it back. Spare from Evil. It's an instant for a colorless and a white. Creatures you control gain protection from non-human creatures. That's kind of interesting. Selfless Cathar. He's a 1/1 for 1. You pay a colorless and a white and sacrifice him to give creatures you control +1/+1 till end of turn. It's kind of interesting. Doomed Traveler. Now this is a funky thing. He's a 1/1 for single mana. When he goes to the graveyard from play, you get a 1/1 flying, a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. That's not bad at all, really. I mean, when he dies, you actually get something better in return. There's a lot of graveyard funk in this set, so there's nothing wrong with that, right? Moment of Heroism. It's a colorless and a white for an instant that gives a creature +2/+2 and lifelink till end of turn. Village Bellringer. It's a 1/4 with flash that untaps all your dudes when it hits the board. Throbbing Purebloods. It's a 3/5 Vanilla Hound for 5 mana. It's... Wait a minute, there's a freaking elephant in M12, and I think was also in previous sets. That's pretty much the same thing. No one cares. It's not impressive. It's not going to see play. Intangible Virtue, which is an enchantment that gives all token creatures you control +1/+1 in Vigilance. It's kind of interesting. What else we got here? We got Avacyn's Pilgrim. It's a 1/1 that taps for white mana. We got a 4/5 with when he hits the board, if a creature died this turn, you gain 5 life. Meh. Ambush Viper, he's a funky little dude. He's a 2/1 flash with Death Touch. Much like cards like Giant Growth and the like, he's ghetto removal. It's the kind of removal card that relies on your opponent swinging into you when you don't have adequate blockers and you've got mana open. And that's the long and short of it, you know? Caravan Vigil, it's a green, search your library for a basic land, reveal, put it in hand, shuffle. If a creature died this turn, you may put it directly into play. Bramble Crush, destroy target non-creature permanent for 2 colors and 2 green, sorcery speed. Interesting. Prey Upon, green, sorcery, target creature you control, fights target creature you don't control. Fight is a new keyword that basically says this creature and that creature exchange damage with each other. Kid science, fun stuff. Travel preparations. It calls in the green, puts a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures, and it flashes back for colors in a white. It's alright. Foil Moon Mist. Woo! It's colors in the green for an instant that transforms all humans, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn by creatures other than werewolves and wolves. Kind of interesting. Speaking of which, the transform cards, you got a card on both sides of the card. You don't have a card back on. I haven't drafted it yet, so that's going to be kind of interesting when it happens this Friday. I don't know. In actual gameplay, they're really not all that bad. You've got these checklist cards that come randomly in some of the boosters, where you can just, like, you know, put a mark on the card to say which one it represents and just have that in your deck instead. It's got a regular magic back on it. What I did is I just sleeved my deck. It was the first time I ever sleeved a limited deck. You know, draft or sealed deck. And I can't really complain about that. Haven't done that. You know, whatever. All of the green and red transform cards are pretty much werewolves. They start off as, well, basically they transform into their wolf form if no one played a spell in the previous turn, and they transform back if someone played at least 2 spells in the previous turn. So there's interesting stuff there. What do we got here? Boneyard Worm. It's colors in the green. Power toughness equal to the number of creatures in your graveyard. What's funny? That's Lurgoyf. That is seriously Lurgoyf. Or close enough to it. Spidery Grasp. It's a green instant for 2 and a green. Gives a creature, untaps a creature, gives it +2/+4 in reach. Yay! You become a giant spider in addition to whatever the heck you already were. Woodland Sleuth, 2/3. When he hits the board, if a creature died this turn, return a creature at random from graveyard to hand. Gnaw the Bone, gain 2 life for each creature in your graveyard. Flashback. Whoop-de-dee. This is kind of an interesting one. We've got a defender. We've got a defender that's a 3/4 for 3 with protection from zombies. It's kind of spiffy. Now there's a couple of Spidery Grasps. Had a couple of Rage Throwers. It's 6 mana for a 4/2. Whenever another creature dies, it deals 2 damage to target player. That's interesting. We've got a red creature enchantment for red. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and attacks each turn if able. Rakish Ares, 2 and a red for a 2/2. Whenever a vampire you control deals combat damage to a player, it gets a put a +1/+1 counter on it. It's kind of interesting. Crossway Vampire, it's a 3/2. When it hits the board, target creature can't block this turn. Vampiric Fury, vampires you control get +2/+0 and first strike till end of turn. And Curse of Pierced Heart, enchant player. At the beginning of enchanted player's upkeep, it deals 1 damage to them. Yay. What do you got over here? Couple of Manor Skeletons. It's basically a Drudge Skeleton with haste, but regenerates for a colorless and a green, colorless and a black instead of just black. It's interesting. I don't know if I like it or not, but it's not bad. Another curse. Creatures enchanted player controls get -1/-1. Vanilla 5/1 for 4 mana. The zombie snake. I think the first time they did something like, I believe that's actually a 5/1 zombie for 3 and a black. I believe that used to be a crocodile in Mirrodin, the original Mirrodin block. I believe it was Dross Crocodile or something like that. Abattoir Ghoul. This guy is interesting. He's a 3/2 first striker. Whenever a creature dealt damage by the ghoul dies this turn, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. He's kind of funky. I had to deal with those are a pain in the butt to deal with, really. Quite frequently, what I found is the best workaround for him was to use flyers and other fun, happy tricks. Diagraph Ghoul. He's a 2/2, hits the board tapped for a single black mana. It's actually not bad. We've got a zombie version of Grizzly Bear. It's a 2/2 zombie for a colorless and a black. It's not bad. I mean, for black, that's actually pretty solid. Tribute to Hunger. It's a black instant. Target opponent sacrifices a creature, and you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. It's not too bad. Bitterheart Witch. It's a 1/2 death touch. When it dies, you tutor for a curse and put it into the battlefield, attached to target player, then shuffle. That's actually better than I thought it was, but she's also like 5 mana for a 1/2 death touch. There's another bear. Bump in the Night. It's black for sorcery. Target opponent loses 3 life, and it flashes back for 5 and a red. Flashback cost is prohibitively high. I don't think I play it. I mean, it's 6 mana to flash it back. That's the part that makes the flashback cost bad. Not that it's in another color, that it's prohibitively high. Blue. Blue has a few transform cards as well. Mostly they're there to showcase the monstrous, science gone awry, stuff like that. And that's the thing with Innistrad. Innistrad is like gothic fantasy horror, so you're seeing werewolves and vampires and things like Civilized Scholar, who's a 0/1. You tap him to draw a card and then discard a card. If you discard a creature card, this way you transform him. And he transforms into a red card, which is a 5/1 called Homicidal Brute. At the beginning of your end step, if he didn't attack this turn, tap him and then transform him. It's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Delver of Secrets. He's a 1/1. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal a card. You may reveal the top card of your library. Well, you actually get to look at it first. Then you can choose to reveal it. If an instant or sorcery is revealed, transform him. He changes from a human wizard into a human insect, and he becomes a 3/2 flyer. That's kind of funky. It's really easy for that guy to be just a really aggressive flyer. I like it. Many have put forth the idea that he's an homage to the movie The Fly, which actually isn't really gothic, but hey, you know, the whole idea of guy transforms himself into some sort of human fly hybrid, human insect hybrid, it fits in pretty well because, let's face it, traditionally insects are icky. Unless it's a butterfly, insects are icky. Right? Now what else we got here? We've got an armored Scob. It's a 1/4 zombie. When he hits the board, you mill yourself for 4. There's a lot of self-mill in this set. Get to that in a moment. Memory's Journey. Target player shuffles up to 3 target cards from his or her graveyard into their library, and it flashes back for green. Fortress Crab. It's a vanilla 1/6 for 4 mana. Grasp of Phantasms, put a creature on top of its owner's library. It's 3 and a blue. With a sorcery, it flashes back for 7 and a blue. The flashback cost is prohibitively high. Dream Twist, it's a blue instant, mill target player for 3. Flashes back for a colorless and a blue. That's actually not bad. Forbidden Alchemy, 2 and a blue. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. 1 goes to your hand, the other to your graveyard, and it flashes back for 6 and a black. Once again, prohibitively high flashback cost. I don't know what's going on with these prohibitively high flashback costs. I'm guessing that they're gonna reprint. I believe it was Memory Crystal. I believe it was. It was Was that what it was? I can't remember. Or was it Catalyst Stone? I can't remember what it was. But there was a card back in the day that reduced flashback costs. Or was Memory Crystal the one that reduced buyback costs? I can't remember. But yeah, I'm pretty sure there was an artifact that reduced flashback costs. And I'm wagering they're going to end up reprinting it somewhere in this block. Lost in the Mist, 3 and double blue for an instant, counter target spell, return target permanent to owner's hand. Now what's fun about that is, although yes, it's a 5 mana counter, what's nice about that is you do get to bounce something in the process. It could be something of your own, it could be something of your opponent's. And since it says permanent, it doesn't, instead of non-land permanent, your opponent can have an empty board and you can still play it. And make him return a land to his hand. So, you know, you cost him a land drop or whatever. Interesting. We've got a Felhoff Occultist. It's a 2/3 for 2 and a blue. Whenever he or another creature dies, target player puts the top card of his or her graveyard into his or her top card of their library into their graveyard. So whenever a creature hits the graveyard, he mills somebody for 1. What's nice is we've also got this guy who's a 1/2 for a colorless and a blue, and you pay a colorless and a blue and tap him, and you put a 2/2 blue homunculus token onto the battlefield, and then sacrifice a creature. Well, hey, guess what? I'm going to make a homunculus and then sacrifice the homunculus. Mill you for 1. That's not bad. I mean, the only bad part about it is that you can't, like, you know, assign that creature to block before it dies. Oh well, right? A Deranged Assistant, it's a 1/1 for a colorless and a blue. You tap it for 1 colorless mana and put the top card of your library into your graveyard. Kid size fun stuff. So that was my sideboard. The actual deck. Hold on a second while I put it down and sort out the lands. Well, I'll make some more room by putting the rest of this stuff aside. Land. Da 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 da. I ended up with a white and red deck. I got 5 artifacts here, 4 of which are equipment. I'm a big proponent of equipment. I love equipment. It's great stuff. We got the Traveler's Amulet. It's 1 to play, 1 in sack. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal, put it into hand. It's not bad. Wooden Stake, 1 made it into the main deck. Talked about that earlier. Sharpened Pitchfork, 2 to play, 1 to equip. Equipped creature gets first strike. If equipped creature is human, it gets +1/+1. It's not bad. I think it's funky that they're finally doing human tribal. Another thing that people have noted, that I didn't notice at first myself, there are no goblins or elves in this set. Not a bloody one. Kid size fun stuff. We've got the Mask of Avacyn, 2 to play, 3 to equip. Equipped creature gets +1/+2 and hexproof. That's not bad. Trepanation Blade, that's kind of an interesting one. It's 3 to play, 2 to equip. Whenever equipped creature attacks, defending player, is it defending or target? Defending player mills cards from the top of their deck until they reveal a land. And the equipped creature gets +1/+0 for each card milled this way. Kid science, fun stuff. Let's put the white aside. So let's hit the red first. And that video went over the time limit for file size, so hey, that's okay. We'll let's these together, get them posted up. But I'm going to finish talking about this first. I got a Brimstone Volley. It's a 2 and a red. It's an instant 3 to target creature or player. If something died this turn, it's 5 instead. It's no lightning bolt. I would even go so far as to say that it's not even on the same power level as Incinerate. It's not quite as good as Incinerate, in my opinion. I guess that's my opinion. I don't know. Kestig Wolf, he ended up being rather interesting. He's a 3/1 for 3. And you can pay a colorless and a red to give him first strike till end of turn. He's funky. That's funk. People are a little bit intimidated by that. I got a pair of Ashmouth Hounds. He's a 2/1. Whenever he's assigned to attack or block a creature, he deals 1 damage to that creature. At one point, what happened is I had an opponent who decided to rush me, and he had that 3/2 first striker. That when a creature dies the same turn that it damages it, you gain life equal to the dying creature's toughness. I didn't want my opponent gaining life, and he was swinging at me in such a way that he probably wasn't gonna kill me anyway. And what I did was I double blocked that, but if I threw something in front of that sucker, there's a good chance he was gonna live because of the life gain. So I threw 2 of those in front of it and just killed it outright, which was funky. I took some nasty hits in the process, but I lived and killed my opponent on my next turn. It was funk. And I've got 4 werewolves here. Red werewolves. I've got a 3/2 that turns into a 6/4. A 1/1 that turns into a 3/2. I mean, other than the transform mechanic, which is the same for pretty much all of the red and green werewolves, other than that, there's nothing to speak of on those 2. This is a guy with an interesting thematic link behind his human side and his wolf side. He's a 1/5 defender, but when he transforms, he turns into a 5/5 that must attack each turn if able. So it's like, you know, going from can't attack to must attack. It's kind of interesting. I've also got a Instigator Gang. He's a 2/3 that gives all attacking creatures you control +1/+0. When he transforms, he becomes a 5/5 trample that gives all attacking creatures you control +3/+0. That's saucy. That's mighty saucy. In white, I got a Smite the Monstrous, destroy creature with power 4 or greater. An Urgent Exorcism, destroy target spirit or enchantment. Slayer of the Wicked, when he hits the board, destroy target vampire, werewolf, or zombie. A Mentor of the Meek, he's kind of interesting. He's 2 and a white for a 2/2. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1 colorless if you do draw a card. That's some nice card advantage right there. An Abyssinian Priest, it's a colorless and a white for a 1/2, and 1 colorless tap to tap target non-human creature. In my opinion, it's not as good as Master Decoy or Blinding Mage for the same mana cost. The activation cost of its ability is sorta cheaper. It's a colorless instead of a white, but if you're playing it, you're already playing white anyway. And, you know, it's tap down target non-human. My guess is this sucker just exists in order to reward people for playing humans in Limited. But that's pretty much it. Yeah, I got a Unruly Mob. He's a 1/1 for a colorless and a white. Whenever a creature you control hits the graveyard from play, he gets a +1/+1 counter. That's kind of funky. What I'd like to do is combine him with those guys that replace themselves with 1/1 flyers when they die. Yeah, and I didn't get any, but there's a card called like Demon's Mail or something like that. It's an equipment that gives a equipped creature +4/+2, but you have to sacrifice a creature. The equip cost is sacrificing a creature. So I'm just like, yeah, that just sounds combo-rific to me. I don't know. Abby Griffin, he's a 2/2 flying vigilance for 3 and a white. What irks me about this is, I believe it was Diving Griffin, is a colorless and double white for a 2/2 flying vigilance. We already had a 2/2 flying vigilance Griffin with a lower casting cost than this guy. The only thing I can say in favor of him is he's more splashable because he's 3 and a white instead of 1 and double white. That's the only thing he's really got going for him. We got some interesting things going on with Spirit Tribal here. Right here we've got a 4 and a white for a 3/3 flyer that gives other spirits you control +0/+1. Kind of funky. Unfortunately, he's the only spirit I had in the deck. And I also have an Angel of Flight Alabaster. She's a 4/4 flyer for 4 and a white. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target spirit from your graveyard to your hand. She's kind of funky. I like her. Looking back on it, could I have made a better deck? Possibly. I'm not sure. I'm really not certain. I just don't have answers for that. But, you know, this is what I had. This is what I played. It didn't end up working out too well. After 3 rounds, I dropped because I hadn't won a single match. I went. One guy swept me, and 2 other guys I went 2-1 against. Oh, they got 2 wins, I got 1. But yeah, the deck just didn't perform for me. And part of that is the problem of what limited really is, what sealed deck really is, because you have no control over your card pool. Your card pool is totally random. With draft, you have some control over your card pool. In sealed deck, you don't. But when it actually comes time to construct the deck, the same principles apply. But yeah, so there's that. There is that. It's what it is, ain't what it ain't, etc., etc. I don't really know what to call these videos I do for my, drafts and such. I mean, I can't. It's not the Magic Organization series anymore. Oh, jeez. So, I don't know. I'm just gonna toss this up, and I'm just gonna wing it. No, you lost your winging it privileges. Cookie for you if you know what movie that comes from. Alright, have a good one, fellas. Be safe.